Okay, hold on. One time, long time ago, Jack Cates told me that all it takes is some experience and some BS. And I'd allowed him to experience some of my BS. But I didn't mean for him to return the favor by allowing me to experience his BS, hence a bar fight. Y'all remember that I made a scene in the bar, first 48 hours, telling people I hate rednecks and that there's a new sheriff in town. But I did not expect to come back out of jail riding along with him again for another 48 hours and now asking him to start a bar fight. Hey, gun. Hey, baby. Baby, hey. You got a gun? Okay, I need a gun. I need to stick up to the place. I gotta stick up to the place. Thank you, baby. I'll give it back to you. I hope it ain't your cleavage. Alright, everybody stop. Just stop. I've been having a bad day. My Porsche got blown up. I've been sitting in jail for 8 years. I've gotten some flack over this dang movie. And I've been given a body counts. I've been conquering female specimen so I can learn to count from 1 to 1 billion. Okay? I'm having a bad day. So y'all just sit down and watch me talk about another 48 hours so that we can get out of this thing smoothly and there won't be no problems. Okay? Now listen. While trying to capture drug lord, the Iceman. Y'all looking for Iceman? Anybody looking for Iceman? Anybody? Policeman Jack Cates. This man. Now I don't hate cops, but I love this man right here. He confronts the 2 criminals and kills one of them in self-defense with one of these. Now the head of internal affairs wants to prosecute Jack since there was no weapon found on the victim because I had it in my pocket and I had it in her pocket. Anyway, in order to prove his innocence, Jack rescues me out of prison from a hit ordered by Iceman because he's a cold-blooded MF. Now I, Reggie, know the real identity of this criminal who calls himself Iceman, and I might be Jack's last hope. Alright, I'm going to tell y'all a story. Many years after the first 48 hours. Okay, this guy named Walter Hill gives us one of those sequels that was not necessary. Okay, if you know me, you know that I was pretty mixed on the first 48 hours. Like I have yet, even if they made a third 48 hours, that would be taking up a whole bunch of time. Okay, they already made 2 48 hours, and that's it. They don't need to make another 48 hours. They don't need to make yet another 48 hours. Okay, that's 72 hours of our time being wasted, and now we are here. The only takeaway from that first film was how it became the trendsetter for every other buddy cop action comedy that followed, and how well Eddie Murphy could work with anybody you put him on screen with. And this whole skill, this talent was even more complimented in Beverly Hills Cop, which I really love, by the way. I really love just putting it out there. So the only thing from the first movie that stays is the banter between I, Reggie, and Jack. We trade different ends of the stick. In the first film, we play our roles of good cop and bad cop. Even though Jack is the crooked cop and I am the convict. I ain't nothing but a convict. Now, 8 years later, just 8 years later of sitting in a rotting cell right next to a serial killer, all alone in a tight, cramped confinement with nothing but rats and James Brown that listen to want to kiss myself. Just listen. I've been sitting around as a convict. I was not as irreverent as I am now this time around. Meanwhile, Jack appears more of an open-minded guy and only comes off as gruesome whenever needed. You know what I mean? Like how I'm gruesome with this gun, because I need y'all to sit there, stay quiet, and open your ears. Okay? Now, although seeing me, Reggie, and Jack swap mindsets for this sequel was an okay choice to make. I ain't gonna lie about that. Just hush your mouth. But it still repeats history with a plot that is all too identical to its predecessor. Okay? Can't nobody have their way at this table right here. Okay? This man wants to be like this man, wants to be like this man, but y'all can't share no skills together. Okay, there can only be one movie at this table. Okay, one original, one sequel. What's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? Is it gonna be 48 hours or not 48 hours? You wanna be 72? You can't have 72. You don't like it, have 72? Because you only gotta pick one. Now I see 21% of y'all recommend this story to a lot of people. Recommend this film to a lot of people. Most of y'all, that 21% must work at Rotten Tomatoes or something. Anyway, 48 hours. Here's my case in point. 48 hours would have been better off without adding another 48 hours to an already closed case. Why bring stuff up from the past that you ain't willing to fix? Why even bother closing the case if you think you're trying to open it up again? That just defeats the whole purpose. That's just redundant. Okay? It felt like a second chance to do nothing but to exchange the pros and the ex-cons. Now I know that don't make sense, but when you think about it, there was some of the things that were not necessarily wrong with the first movie, but they were just average, therefore dated. But the pros and ex-cons were exchanged, and that resulted in something that was worse than what we saw before. So for that, it falls in the middle of the spectrum. 6 out of 10. It's on the borderline between being really bad and okay, but it ain't even half of what the first movie was at the box office, with critics, and with me, Nick Nolte. That is all I got to say about 48 hours. If anybody wants to volunteer to move, I'll blow a cap in your head. You think I'm playing?